Hey, listen, if you're looking to buy a home in 2021, the market is obviously a little different than it was 2020 or 2019. So I wanted to take a moment to go through and explain to everybody what the differences are today. And I'm not sure if you've ever bought a house before, but if you haven't, this will help you out tremendously. That's the point. I go by Ian of Austin everywhere on the internet, but regardless, that should still allow you to use this same process anywhere in the United States, wherever they have land, to build houses like here in Texas. So, and I'm not editing this one. This is just, I want to come to you straightforward, candid, and just give you some serious information. Take maybe 5 minutes, so stick around if this is something that you think will interest you. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I think the first thing to talk about is let's start with new builds. What are some of the reasons that you would want to choose a new build over a resale home? One of them is less stress after closing. And the reason why I say after closing, not necessarily along the way, but it's because you know that you can pick out what you're looking for. In a lot of cases, you can pick out what you're looking for, and then you're there, and it's exciting for the process. Sometimes there are delays and things like that, and that's why I say there's a little bit of stress before closing. But, when you close, you know that there are no repairs, or your home is under warranty. So those things are invaluable for a lot of people, and they often have either 1 or 2 year warranties on most things, and then a 10-year warranty on your foundation and your roof. And so you can move into this house and not necessarily have to worry about, oh, is my roof damaged, or will this be covered if there's an issue? So less stress after closing is a big reason why people choose new builds. So the next thing I want to talk about is price. You can often secure the price of a new build early on. Okay, so you're signing a contract saying, hey, I'm buying this new build for $450,000. When I close in 9 months, I'm still only paying $450,000. But here's the thing, you got to be careful. Some builders are changing the rules of the game, or trying to change the rules of the game, where they will escalate the price 1, maybe even 2 times during the process. All right, based on their cost of materials, based on their cost of labor, or things that are changing in the environment. Now, that's questionable. So if you can get around that, if you can find a build and they don't escalate the price, then you have that confidence that this is the price you signed up for, this is the price you're going to get. So that is really, really beneficial for a new build if you can make that happen. And another thing is bidding. So oftentimes, once you get into that contract with a new build, you're done. It might be 9 months for the build to be complete, but you're not arguing with anybody else. You already have this house, as long as you don't mess it up. As long as you don't mess it up with lending, as long as you get your paperwork done and all that sort of stuff, your realtor, just everything in the process, you have a good communication strategy. And then, you're able to go through the process and have, that security and that you can get it done. Next is you have time to plan and to save for your purchase. So the reason why I say that is if it's going to take you 7 months to build your home, you don't actually have to bring your big down payment, or your closing costs until close to closing. Okay. So if it's 7 months, at about 5 months, you have to be ready with your money. So if you need a couple more months to save, you have that flexibility. So you get it all locked in, you get ready to go, your price is set, and now you have time to plan for that down payment. I don't think a lot of people who've never purchased a home understand that. And so that's a huge benefit for people that know that it's a good time to hurry up and get into the Austin market before it continues to swell and swell and swell from everybody moving here, but also to lock in a solid price and to have time to save for that new build. Next thing is more loan types. I don't know if you've heard, but it's difficult for people who are FHA buyers. So first time using a guaranteed government loan, or even VA, even our military. It's really difficult for them to purchase a home right now. And the reason why, and it's been like that for a few months, and the reason why is because in those loan types, you can always walk away and the seller is left hanging out to dry. And it's because with those guaranteed loan types, you have an escape. And so with some of these other loan types, you don't have that escape. So it's really to the benefit of the buyer. And so sellers are like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that. If they have 5 offers on a property, they're not going to take one where the buyer can walk away halfway through it. It's not good business for the seller, especially if they've already paid for moving and all that sort of stuff. And you can say to them all you want, I'm not going to do that, but you never know. You never know what can happen along the way where you might want to actually back out. And the seller, they don't, that puts them in a really tough spot. And so they could have already started purchasing their house and waiting for the proceeds from your sale, your purchase, in order to pay for that next house. And it could really mess them up. So that's why those loan types are really difficult. Builders don't have to worry about that. They don't care. You lock in the price, you show them some money, maybe a deposit here and there, you're good. You're good. So that's a really strong advantage with some of these new builds. And then I think one of those things actually I have 2 VA loans closing. I have one that just closed right before I started doing this, and then I have another one closing next week. So it is actually a strategy that works really well for VA buyers. Next thing I want to talk about, or last thing for the new build, reason for a new build that I think is really important, is there are a couple types of new build. So there's the type where I told you about, where you purchase, you sign a contract, the more frequent types. You sign a purchase contract or purchase agreement, and then you know that you're going to have a house built for you, okay? Then there's what's called an inventory home. And an inventory home means a builder is releasing a house. They've already picked everything out. You don't really have any choices. You can't go in there and say, oh, I want to change the floors. I want to change the, no. You don't have that choice. But what happens is you already know it's going to be done. And so if you get in and you sign a contract, then you know exactly what you're getting. It's not like you're seeing just an empty lot and you have to imagine what the floor plan looks like, or look at a picture online and try to say, I wonder if this works. No, the house is already there in most cases. And some builders are getting smart, and they're doing it where about 2 or 3 months before the house is finished, then they'll let you buy this inventory home where you don't get to make any selections, but they know it's going to sell because this market is quite ridiculous. So both of those are options, and the inventory home option is similar to the resale process, which brings me to that. So why are some reasons, the process is similar, but why are some reasons people would choose a resale home or a new build home? Well, one of them, I hear a lot. It's kind of underrated, larger trees, and sometimes a larger lot. But if you're buying a home that's been there for a while, the trees have had time to mature, right? So whether it's been 5 years, 10 years, even 20 years, you might have huge, beautiful oak trees. Now, I personally, they drop a lot of acorns. It becomes quite the challenge to keep them trimmed. To keep them trimmed, to keep everything off the ground and make it nice and clean. But you know what? It's beautiful when it comes to shade. They look gorgeous. They help the environment, all those things. So people that like trees, a resale home is often going to be a better choice for them. Another thing is, sometimes you have it's weird in this market, price per square foot. As long as you're not paying some exponential amount over the listed price or the appraised value of the home, then you often get, or you used to get, and maybe it's still kind of playing out today, a better price per square foot versus a new build. And so what does that translate to? That means the same 2 houses, one's a brand new build, one's 10 years old, or even 20 years old, you might actually end up with larger square footage for the same price, right? So that means maybe larger bedrooms or a couple other things. So keep that in mind when you're searching that price per square foot, because I've seen new builds where you're paying like $1,300, you're getting 1,300 square foot, and you're paying $650,000. And people are like, what? Those are California prices. And first off, they're not California prices. They're not New York. Higher than what a lot of people expect because they're still watching videos from 2 years ago. See what I mean? Okay. The next thing that's important is the HOA or tax rate. Austin has about 50%. If I were to speculate, 50% of properties are in HOAs and 50 are not in HOAs. An HOA, prices here average around $50 to $60 a month. But that comes with rules. That comes with a governing body. And so a lot of people come to me and they say, I don't want an HOA. I don't want to have to deal with that. It's like, okay, you could have no HOA. You could also have no, pool in your neighborhood. You could have no kind of governance around who cuts their grass, who has cars up on blocks who has campers in their driveway or whatever. And that's fine. Do what you want. And, everybody in the neighborhood kind of does that, lives the way they want to live, versus having an HOA, which they tell you, you can't put this sign up. You can't put this flag up. You can't do this. You can't do that. And most of our HOA builds, as long as it's in a resale, they seem to be a little more relaxed. And the reason why is because after they hit a certain level of ownership, and oftentimes I'll see like 50% ownership of that neighborhood, then they pass it over to the members of the neighborhood. And, they get a board director and all that sort of stuff. And it might be managed by a third party, but you have more control over what types of things you vote for in your HOA. I think that was a little ambiguous. But anyway, so you have HOA and no HOA, and then taxes, right? So in a new build, oftentimes the developer will get a bond in order to bring in some type of utilities like gas lines or city water or something like that. Well, if it's an established community, you already know what they're going to have. You already know that they've had it. And if they've had it for a while, then their tax rate may have already dipped some. Right. So if it's a 10-year-old community and they did get one of those bonds to get gas run to the community, well, that tax gets paid off over time. It's called a MUD, municipal utility district tax. And that has should have decreased over time, unless they're still building up that section of the community. So that's something to keep in mind. And yeah, you really want to pay attention to those tax rates. I talk about it a lot on this channel. What else? Oh, things are closer to you. If you buy a resale home, you know that you have stores, or you don't know that, but you may have stores around. You may have, it's not this, I wonder what's coming soon. It's, oh, I already know it's there. I know there's a grocery store right over here. I know that I can go to my yoga class right here. I know that there's a daycare nearby. You're not wondering about when those types of things will come and make your quality of life better. And oftentimes you're going to pay a little more for that. But that's what your trade-off is. Closer in proximity to the things that you may or may not use every single day. The next thing is homes have already settled. If it's 20 years old and there are no cracks in your foundation, well, that house is going to sit there for a while, right? That's kind of how I look at it. And even with new houses, they do have different types of foundation technology that they're working on. Like there's this neighborhood called Whisper Valley, and they have like a spongy almost foundation that they created. So it's malleable and all that, because our foundations swell. Okay, they swell. I heard 12 to 18 inches year over year. They would, because of the heat and the cold, the differences in them. So, and you'll know because your doors start to get stuck over the years and all that sort of stuff. So you know that if the home has been there for 10 years and it's still strong, there's no cracks in the foundation, it should increase your level of confidence that you have another 10 years or 20 years before that's going to be a problem, unless there's some kind of natural disaster. So your home is already settling crack here or there, but you're not worried about it falling over. And with a new build, I'm not saying you have to worry about it. I'm just saying you don't know. They just built it. You hope that they built it well and they did a good job, right? And they have warranties on that stuff, but still, it's like, okay, I know this thing exists, or I speculate that they're going to do a good job, and all I can do is all the research and read reviews. So that's your trade-off. The last one, and this one is the last one for resale homes, and this was really interesting. Investors aren't locked out. I probably get, 10, 15 calls a day talking about, hey, I want to move to Austin. I'm like, that's great. And I love it. I love being able to help people. I love having these conversations. But what happens is a lot of people, I have to say, I don't know that I can help you. And here's an example. An investor, they're like, I have $300,000 and I want to buy a place in Austin and I want to rent it out. It's like, okay, first off, you can't do it for $300,000 very easily anymore. Second, you can't get a new build like you want, because they want to buy new builds and then they want them, to rent it out for 20 years. And a lot of these new build communities are like, yeah, we're not going to sell to investors. You're just locked out if you're an investor. And so what they're doing, so with a resale home, if you shop well, you can find a house and you're not competing with, you're not locked out of the community, obviously, because that's part of the problem. I think I hear something. I'm wearing noise canceling earphones. I think I'm hearing something. Anyway, so if you're an investor, you might have a better shot at purchasing a resale home than you would for a new build. So I think that's it. I think that's my list today. And I know we're halfway through the year. What are we? June 7th, June 8th. Gosh. So it's June 8th, and and there are a lot of people who have been lucky enough to secure homes. There are a lot of people who have backed out of the market and they said, I'm going to wait. I'm telling you, keep your eye on the ball, or your eye on the prize. Is that what it? Yeah. Keep your eye on the prize. You can make it happen. I've had many closings this year. I know that I can make it happen for you, that you can make it happen. Just be diligent with who you're working with. Be diligent with understanding how the process works, and be diligent with making sure that your paperwork is in line. And so it becomes easier, or what do you call it? Not easier, but more. You can submit an offer more rapidly. That's really what it is. You want to have everything in order, so when you see the house that you like, boom, you submit the offer and you're ready to go. Or if you see the builder that you like, boom, you sign up for the wait list, and as soon as they release it, you already know that you're qualified and ready to go. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, reach out. Ian of Austin. Have a wonderful day.